Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I'm Ray Orsini, and we are here at the MMN Presents IT Nation's PitchIT, where we're going to be going over a few of the contestants coming up. You'll notice Sean Lardo is not with me at the moment. He's caught up in flight, but will be joining us shortly. But for those that are joining, we're still going to have an amazing PitchIT presentation. Joining me are two different people, another two contestants, just like last week. If you remember the contestants from last week, real powerhouses, real amazing presentations, answering a ton of the Q&A you were so interested in hearing about. And for those that wonder why you're joining, if this is your first time, it's real simple. These are the vendors in your space. These are the vendors that want to hear about you. These are the vendors that you're making become great, awesome, give a chance at getting that $70,000 at the end of the year and do some pretty amazing things in the following years. Companies like Traceless and Thread have been winners in previous years, and we're definitely looking forward to seeing what happens this year. So without further ado, if you help me in welcoming my very first guest, the CEO of Czech Red, Mr. Pat Clawson. How you doing, Pat?
I'm good, Ray. How are you?
I'm good, man. I'm good. So we're struggling with your video a little bit. Not a big deal. We'll get through it. It's part of the game. So thanks for getting through that. So Pat, tell us about yourself. Give us a little bit about your background and I mean even pre Czech Red.
Yeah, sure. Well, first of all, thanks for having me on this. I've been running cybersecurity companies for probably the last 25 years. 2 have been public. The rest have all been private. It spanned from layer 7 firewalling at a company called CyberGuard, which was a NASDAQ turnaround, to a company called PatchLink, which was a patch remediation vendor that eventually became Lumention. And we were about 3,500 customers around the world. Then went into data with a company called Blanco or Blanco Technology Group, which was listed on the London AIM. Then did dark web with a company called Terbium Labs, and we sold that to Deloitte. Along the way, I was on boards of companies like EDMZ, which was bought by Quest, is kind of the one identity platform today, and on the board of Prolexic, which went over to Akamai as their cloud-based email platform.
So you got a little bit of experience in the space, to say the least. What is this? So what's Czech Red? You decided to do this again. What is Czech Red, and why you bring it to the space after you've worked with some pretty major organizations that provided their solutions? What solution are you providing that maybe wasn't there before? You think you can do better?
Yeah, good question. And hopefully my video is going to start going.
You're good now. Yep.
Good. So look, there's a group of us. There's about 6 of us that have been building cyber companies together for the last 22, 23 years. And about 3.5, 4 years ago, we decided to get behind a guy by the name of Pavan Gorkavi. Pavan had been our CTO at a couple companies based here in Dallas. And we were wrestling with what we saw to be a problem in the macro cloud security environment. And our view of the problem was that those vendors who were doing cloud security, largely the Wizzes and the Orcas of the world, in our opinion, were overinvested. They were not multi-tenant, so they were not appealing to the service providers of the world. They did not include SaaS in their offerings, so they only gave a partial view of things. Then we looked at the other side of that same equation, and we looked at the SaaS only guys like an Adaptive Shield or an App Omni, and we thought the same thing. Look, you're overinvested, you charge too much money, and you don't do any of the cloud stuff. So we set upon a journey. We got behind Pavan. We hired 7 or 8 of his lead engineers that we'd worked with before. We brought about another 60 engineers around him. We've got a powerful office in Pune, India. And we've built a very cost-effective platform that's priced beautifully, that is completely multi-tenant, that covers IaaS, PaaS, and SaaS all on the same platform, from Kubernetes posture management to SaaS security posture management to CSPM, CNAP, CIM, and every other crazy acronym you can throw in the mix. And then we're very much targeting the service providers of the world because others couldn't do it. And we're trying to do it in a way, Ray, that is complementary to the way they buy things, the way they license things, and the way they serve their customers.
How so?
Well, for one, we don't charge them any upfront fees. We don't charge them per customer fees. We actually only charge based on employee count, not some sort of fictitious Active Directory, user count. We don't care about assets. We don't care about workloads. We don't care about sessions. We don't charge our partners a penny to get on board with us. They only pay when they start signing their customers, and we charge them monthly in arrears, trying to complement the way they bill, right?
Okay.
We have a 40-point margin on the deals. We do that contractually because we want it to be a lucrative platform deal for them as well. And then we give them one-time assessments for free. So they can go to any of their existing customers or prospects. They can do an assessment, provide them the results, and presents them with an opportunity to create new revenue. And we're a great sales tool that help them do that. It's good for both of us.
So what are you seeing are the biggest requests from MSPs as they enter this space?
First is realizing they can actually do these assessments without a lot of human effort, right? So we have built in very in-depth scan technology. So if they need to do a 365 assessment today, most of the mid-range service providers in the US and around the world, it's hard for them to do that. They don't have the human resource to put on doing that analysis or the time to allocate to doing it. I can take a 1,000 user environment and do a deep 365 scan. I can do it on SharePoint, on Intune, on Defender as well. And I can do that all in 10 minutes and present them with a tool that says, hey, here are your exact problems. Here are your alerts, your guided remediation instructions. So it's their ability to say, I can actually create new revenue with this is the first step.
Gotcha. So when they're approaching, are you upfront? Are you an initial scan? Are you ongoing scans? Are you,
Beautiful.
framework adhesion? So you're aligning. Where do you fit in this mix?
We own everything is ours, right? So our scan frequency is determined by our partner and their customers. So the scan frequency can be set by app, it can be set by cloud environment, it can be set by regulatory framework, it can be hourly, daily, weekly, monthly, yearly, however you want to do it, or any combination of the above. So if you have some customers that may be banking and a little bit more sensitive, you can probably want to avoid the creep and do it weekly. For your frameworks or for your SaaS environments, and in less regulatory controlled environments, maybe it's wider, but it's whatever frequency is appropriate for you and your customer.
And talk to me about this bidirectional AI-powered search. Everything has AI nowadays. Notepad has AI nowadays. Thank you, Microsoft. So in your context, what are you using AI for, and what are you not using AI for?
So at this stage, it's beta for us, right? We didn't, we're sensitive to the overuse of everything being AI, right? We're trying to be smart about it. It's closed in our environment, and it allows our customers to challenge their databases and just natural language processing. If they need, hey, look, I want to know all my environments where 2FA is not, on. Tell me which customers and how many, and just being able to talk to your platform and come back to you. So we're still in a learning mode. There's a lot we want to do with it, but it's very early.
Gotcha. Where do you see it going for something like your space?
With a SaaS platform like we have, and we can, down the road, if you can aggregate and anonymize, you can ask it, look, I'm specifically got banking customers. I want to know what are the top misconfigurations that are being leveraged right now against banking environments, and then how to mitigate that, right? Here it is. Here's your Terraform. Here's your CLI. Here's your got it. Here's how you fix this problem. And it will alleviate that for 98% of your customers.
Right? Is your platform solely advising of areas for improvement, or is it actually advising on what changes need to be made?
Yeah, we are completely guided. So
wow.
One of the things we do differently is every single alert that we have, we provide step-by-step guided remediation instructions and CLI and Terraform where appropriate. We tell them that what assets have been impacted. We tell them down to the control of the frameworks that they're monitoring for that have been impacted. We give them the full MITRE attack dashboard, any MITRE implications against it, the whole thing.
So in security, my experience has been it's not understanding what the scope is very important, but understanding what's out of scope is equally important. What are you not good at? What are the areas that you say, not that you're not good at, but the areas that you say as a company, this is not the role we're filling. This is where somebody else should come in. What's complementary to Czech Red?
Yeah. So for me, I think that answer is simple, but it might take a second to explain.
You got 1:45, so go for it.
What we never wanted to do was be another agent-based platform.
Okay.
And be the guys that we told you that, hey, you can use us and we'll solve every problem you have. You just need to deploy our agents throughout your customer's infrastructure. So what we don't do, we tell you what's wrong, we tell you how to fix it, but we don't deploy those agents to do it. We know that you've already invested in those platforms. So we've created collaboration apps. So all of the major XDR platforms, SOAR platforms, SEM platforms, so we can pass that alert detail through Splunk app to Splunk, through Zscaler to Splunk, to CrowdStrike, to whoever. They're good at that. They know what they need to do when they get the detail in the format and in the form that they need. We don't do that. We pass it to them. And then when they've completed their playbook or their orchestration, we'll rescan and let them know how they did.
Gotcha. And do you guys provide, where does support come in when you guys come in, when the MSP gets to something where they understand you've given the advisement what it is, what they need to fix, and maybe they still have some questions as to what they should do? Can they reach out to you guys for just clarity?
We are 24/7. They all get their own Teams
Wow.
channel. We're group channels. We are 24/7. We get, very, very responsive. We consider that a differentiator.
Very nice. All right, I'm going to go ahead and take you off screen. You're going to have the next 10 minutes while I talk to Nick, your competitor, sort of cooperator. So go ahead and think about your 30-second pitch. When we come back, we'll get some more questions. Patrick, thank you so much. So as we bring up our next guest is co-founder and CEO of ShadowHQ. Shadow typically being a scary word in the IT world, most notably with Shadow IT. So I'm very curious to see what Nick Scozzaro, double Z. So it should be Scozzaro, right?
Hey, Ray. Yep, you got it.
Nice. I'd be a bad Italian if I didn't get that right. So,
yeah.
So Nick, so tell me about yourself, man. What brings you to the space? Who are you? What were you doing before this?
Yeah, Ray, thank you. And thanks for having me. And Patrick, good to see you again. So yeah, my background is in software engineering, and my first career dates back to the early days of BlackBerry. So I started just after 9/11, and I quickly found myself supporting military applications overseas. And in the 15 years that I was there, I left there as a head of enterprise mobility engineering. So suffice to say, I got my hands into a lot of cool things and headlines that happened across the globe, because that BlackBerry changed the way the world communicated. And so yeah, there was always never a dull moment. Now,
yeah, I think you're downplaying your history there. BlackBerry, head of enterprise mobility engineering. That's not a small title at BlackBerry. It's a big title at a big company. So let's give it. It's the equivalent of saying, yeah, I worked with this little PDA company. What was it, Palm Pilot or something? Yeah. Okay. So anywhere where you have a president saying they don't want to give up their BlackBerry,
sure,
it matters. So,
well, yeah, absolutely. I can tell you there, when I started, I had hair and youth.
As
when I
we
left
all.
there, not so much. So it was a great run. Yeah. And I do remember when Obama wouldn't give up his BlackBerry, and I do know about how he was able to keep it. So
well, that's the kind of experience you want when an vendor come to the space. All right, so you go there, you go to MobileStream. What's MobileStream? So
again, being my background in software engineering, digital transformation was a big component of mobilization, and we were doing a number of great projects. So I started MobileStream in 2015, but no matter how far or fast I ran from secure communications, these type of projects continue to follow us, which is great because we got into providing secure communication and collaboration and data transfer technologies for governments and large companies across the globe. So then I think, like everyone else, was seeing all the headlines of ransomware attacks, taking out hospitals and governments. And, I was just curious, and, how did people evolve their tool set? Because I remember being on disaster recovery team at BlackBerry for my department. And, the scenarios we were talking about, well, the military uses the train tracks behind our data center to carry ammo. So what happened is that blew up, and we all had a binder. So I thought, many years later, how are people doing this in a digital age? And I was just kind of blown away that it wasn't being taken seriously. So we had a lot of consumer grade products, day-to-day products that are great for peacetime, but those were being relied on during a response. And like we all know, the harder the hit and the harder the response, the more likely you are to pay. So I felt like it was a calling. We had all the tools and technology to join the fight. And now I spend the majority of my time on the minority of my revenue. So No, it's. I mean,
We're gonna
new,
fix
right?
that though.
It's a Shadow
Yeah.
HQ is a new line of business out of MobiStream, and you correctly had it where that the term shadow is typically accepted in the IT space as the unsanctioned environment, and Shadow HQ is exactly that. We are detached by design, and so when you're like as a virtual bunker, so when your systems are compromised, your communications are compromised, Shadow HQ is your virtual bunker to help manage through a major incident and gives you that continuity within your teams.
Nice. So bring that to me in practicality. What does that mean? That was beautiful marketing speech.
Well,
What is
when
that?
your house is on
You're talking to a
fire,
bunch
you've
of
got it.
text.
Listen, I'm an engineer. Like my software engineering, it's hard for me to do all the sales marketing. But it's like when your house is on fire, you have a place to go. But what it does mean is like, okay, so when these attacks happen when you least expect them, they happen in the after hours. They are designed to create chaos and confusion. And when it happens, you're in that panic. So what we try to do is remove the human element. So try to automate all of those preparedness tasks that you've already figured out. So, today a lot of people invest in documents. They lay lifeless in a binder and hope at 2 a.m. you can find that and put that to use. Well, our approach is you've already determined what needs to happen. Let's just help you facilitate that. So we take out the confusion. We bring that steadiness there, and that continuity through, like operating in a virtual bunker.
It's funny. That's much better.
Okay.
It's funny because anybody that's in the audience is wondering, okay, yeah, there's no way big companies operate their DR out of freaking binders. I worked for the City of Miami Police Department for 10 years, third largest police department in Southeast United States. Yeah. We absolutely had binders for every single thing. It was a library of binders. It was insane. And that was as late as 2009, by the way. That was not like super late. So yeah, okay. So you come in. This is a bad time, right? Something has occurred. I'm not making fun of you. Their hair is on fire, right? Their hair is on fire. They're running around.
It's okay. When Sean gets here, he'll make a number of follow-up.
He'll absolutely, yeah. I know. I'm expecting it. It felt weird saying it without Sean on the call. But like, okay, so stuff happens. Stuff hits the fan. Sure. They're resorting to whatever plans they had presented, and we all know, take your plans onto the battlefield, and that's when stuff falls apart. How do you make that honestly terrifying time? How does your platform make that better?
I think it's because we enable you to respond from a position of strength. There's more confidence in your response. You know exactly what to do, and we have not only a web but a mobile app. And you can run the entire incident from your mobile. So you're going to be reaching for your phone at 2 a.m. anyways to call someone. But Shadow HQ will be right there. You press one button, you pull down what type of a playbook that you need to enact. You've already defined everything, and it automatically sends a multi-channel blast out to everybody, wakes everybody up, text, email, push notifications. Your watches buzz. Hey, wake up! There's an incident, and you now actually have the strength of numbers, right? You've got people being able to coordinate. You've got all the communications, the organization, set the organization of those communications. And unlike any other type of business disruptor, I mean, cyber is unique in a sense that there's likely going to be an investigation or an audit or a lawsuit or an insurance claim after it. So how does everything that happens on the platform turn into evidence, immutable evidence, so that you can, with a click of a button, export the topics, export the evidence and the communications and the tasks and the timestamps without going through and copy and pasting screenshots from 50 different phones and all of that type of thing. So
it's funny because I never hear that part of IR addressed.
Yeah. The entire industry is on detection prevention.
Right. Yeah. No, that's exactly it. And even when they talk tabletops and doing IR response, I look at, I don't know about you, but I have almost PTSD from IR incidents at the police department where you're constantly looking at the clock because you're timestamping every damn thing. And you're writing tags because you're going to have to correlate that data after the fact. Yeah. So, I'm looking at your platform. It even says war rooms, which is exactly when we declare what we call a major incident. we set up a war room thread in Teams, and that's how we run it from. And we sign incident commander, team lead, event lead, communications lead, blah blah. Thank you, Miami Police Department, for the PTSD. But I can see a case for having all those communications out of band, where now you have a silo for the data that you can pull data from. So when that discovery portion happens, when that, okay, let's see what happened. Let's start, bringing up the data maybe for court or maybe for the forensics team or whatever it happens to be.
Sure.
Having those cataloged and separately housed, so you can just say, this is the export of what happened, or this is how we're correlating. I can see a lot of value to that, because that, to me, at minimum, says I'm not giving my team's data for my team's conversations for this incident. How do you play in when it comes to, because you mentioned doing notifications and comms, is it solely internal comms, external comms? Are you notifying end users? How does that work?
Yeah, so it's important to think like when you have a bunker, it provides that support for the entire life cycle of the event that you're dealing with. So right from the kickoff, so that's mass notifications, or both internal and external. So you've got, we'll start with that mass notifications piece. So if I had to email thousands or text message thousands of people, perhaps their employees, their supply chain, they are what have you, that's the external piece. And then the internal one, ShadowHQ gives you the internal security and communications without compromise. So your hackers tend to listen in so they can undermine your response. We give you that out of band, and we allow you to organize those in war rooms. And just last point on that is it's not just about incident response. It's the convergence of the crisis management, disaster recovery, and business continuity. So example, like where does HR, they need a secure corner to perform their tasks while the IT teams are trying to get the bad guys out and the servers back up. So it provides both all of those elements of communications, multi-factor or multi.
Yeah, very nice. I like it. All right, Nick, we'll bring up, hold on.
Thank you.
No, thank you very much. I saw a beep come in, so I'm trying to figure out if Sean actually showed up or if it was just Restream beeps on its own sometimes. So, all right. Patrick, I'm going to ask you, since I don't have the benefit of asking Sean, I'll ask you, how do you think Nick did?
I think Nick did great. Well done, Nick.
Yeah, same with you, Patrick.
Yeah, it's nice having some old hats from the enterprise space, because you guys you're used to giving the presentations in different formats to different audiences. So it definitely comes across a hell of a lot more polished. Are you sure you guys are allowed in PitchIT? I mean, you're a little experienced for.
Well, Sean,
the thing is, we both keep innovating, right? We're both still trying to come up with what comes next.
I appreciate that. Nick, you were saying?
Yeah, Sean kind of put some fear into us when he said the one team wrapped their pitch. Yeah, and I don't have game like that, so.
Adam Belensky can. I know you just did Adam Belensky's thing. He can help you with some rap. He has some experience at that. Right. So, all right, gentlemen. So it strikes me as I'm talking to you now. I'm seeing very firmly I have left of boom and right of boom right in front of me on the screen, which kind of works out really well. How does? I'll start first with the most obvious question. Do you two have any integration together?
No, we
the look of fear.
Well, I'm trying to hold my excitement, but I think perhaps as we're so new into the MSP space, we are looking at an ecosystem because what we don't have in the industry is someone who owns the life cycle of an incident from start to finish, or the whole cybersecurity life cycle. So left of boom complement right of boom very much, and
and as you know, as soon as you have silos of information, you know what I mean? When you're doing the incident response side, when you're starting correlating data, when you're determining scope and impact, you're looking at those left of boom tools before you start acting. That's so, right. Going and hunting and stuff like that, the easier the communication, the better. Just curious, just stuff I throw out. So, whatchamacallit? Sorry, I got my screen keep popping up here. Patrick, you mentioned that you had integrations with some SOARs and some SIMs. Do you have integrations yet to any PSAs or RMMs yet?
We do not. Like Nick said, we're early into the MSP, MSSP space. So we're starting to get the feedback. We actually got asked that same question today. So tell us literally on a prospect call, said, tell us who you want us to work with. Send us your way.
It's the funny thing is in the MSP space, the questions are always, do you have NFR? Are you channel only? Do you have an API? Who do you integrate with? And no matter, regardless of who you integrate with, do you have an API is still a valid question, even though regularly MSPs will not tell you what they want to do with it. They just want to know if there's an API for inspiration.
So we are 100% API based. So
that's a win.
Full catalog is available from your login screen. Like I said, we're built for the MSSP because we didn't think anybody else was serving the market.
Yeah, no, it's fantastic. I love it. Nick, same question to you. Integrations, either current or planned?
Yeah, so we definitely have a suite of integrations planned for things like threat intelligence and SIM for those who are providing those type of services. The one thing that's tricky about, it's not tricky, but different for me, after 20 years of building software that integrates with everything, I had to build a bunker, which means the integrations are tight, and we have to respect that out of band. So it's a different way of integrating and how we persist that integration. But there's definitely an enrichment roadmap for MSSPs. The easy stuff is the downwards, like the billing, like all those pieces can integrate. But from an operational, responding to an incident, all of our integrations have to make sure that the hackers can't follow you into your bunker.
I wonder if that would possibly, I've only ever seen this once in the SaaS space, but I did have one vendor that had an open architecture. They actually had a built-in UI framework for attaching the third-party APIs. They had the ability to say, this is going to be one-way data. You could assign CRUD operations per direction. So you can say, I'm only going to allow read in, but I'm only going to allow updates and deletes out, or vice versa. I thought it was pretty brilliant the way they did it. A lot of middleware required, but I thought it was pretty brilliant. All right, so what's going forward? What do you see as the future? I asked Patrick this question. I'll ask Nick. What do you see as like, what's the next step for this, right? You identified the need to silo the data, to have your bunkers, to facilitate communication, to ease the communication going out. What's the next thing we're missing? What are we not thinking about?
Yeah, we're really excited about our roadmap because the features are being driven by our user base. Now, like everyone, you can't ask that questions without expecting some AI response. We do have an AI roadmap, and I can talk about some of the easier things. Is about making sure that you're sticking to your plan, finding holes in your plans, being able to support that. So imagine having reminders and pop-ups along the way, and even when building your preparedness guides. We have what people are looking for, like the actual practical things that'll help are summarizing lots of data. So if I have 20 meetings and I need to know what the outcomes of all of those, I think AI can do a great job summarizing those, giving you that. But otherwise, the feature roadmap is probably going to have a bigger impact on recovering quickly from an attack. But as we do build on the AI pieces.
Okay, Patrick, what I asked you about how you guys are intending to use AI in the future, and you mentioned your beta stage today, but AI and beyond, what do you think is missing from the platform? That's your next idea that you need to get in there, or you think is a high priority?
Yeah, probably the and beyond part, right? We're focused. We're adding Kubernetes posture management in the next week or so to the platform. We've continued to add more functionality, kind of dealing with the concepts of platform fatigue from our CISO advisors that we've worked with for many, many years. And I think we'll probably start seeing us go down the path of data and a few other components over the next 6 months to a year as well on the platform.
Gotcha. Actually, Nick, I was going to wait till the end, but let's take advantage now. Keep the thought train going. You had something else you wanted to bring up?
Yeah. So about the future, what we're kind of seeing evidence of is when it comes to cyber incident response, you're seeing a convergence of business continuity, disaster recovery, crisis management kind of converge around the CISO in that event. Because unlike earthquakes or other types of business disruptors, you're dealing with the same elements. Like systems are down, they're compromised. So like it or not, HR, marketing, sales, exec teams, they'll be looking to the CISO for guidance on how to operate. So you're going to see a lot. My prediction for the future is seeing a lot more of those pieces coming together around the resilience banner. So that's if I had a crystal ball.
All right, I'm going to give you guys 4 quick rapid fire yes/no questions, and then we'll get to the 30-second pitches. And again, for the audience, I don't think I brought this up at the beginning. I apologize. We went a little off kilter in the beginning, doing it myself. But this is recorded. This is available immediately thereafter on Facebook, YouTube, all the platforms, TikTok, you name it. They're all there, so you can rewatch afterward and in the comments. And the gentlemen are invited to join our MMN Discord, where if you have additional questions, you can always ask them. So the 4 rapid fire questions. Like I said, MSPs ask the 4 questions every single time. Nick, I'll start with you first. NFR, yes or no?
No.
API, yes or no?
Yes.
Channel only, yes or no?
Maybe.
Good Lord.
Once we get fully lit up. Yes.
Yeah, and I know you talked about integrations you're being very cautious with integrations. What are the standing integrations you have today, if any?
Account management, lists, users, accounts, just so you don't have to maintain your lists, and potentially content. So pushing content.
Gotcha. Patrick, you answered API yes already. So I'll save you that one. On the integration side, you mentioned you have a list of integrations. You want to give me some of the key ones first? I'm sure that on the website you guys have a full list.
Yeah, guys. Totally.
Give me 1 or 2 that you think people would most care about.
Yeah, you get it. Cloud, Sumo, Sentinel, you name it, kind of that list. CrowdStrike, the whole lot. Entra, Okta, Ping, that whole group. And then there's more traditionals, Slack, PagerDuty, all the above. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay, very cool. And absolutely go over to the website. We're going to put all the links below, both the LinkedIn and the actual websites for the companies in the comments, so you guys can always go visit. So Patrick, NFR, do you guys offer NFR?
We do, but because we're completely SaaS, we just give them a blank number of licenses that we don't charge them for, and they can use them as they wish.
Seems to go the easiest route possible. That makes sense.
Yep.
All right, so we got.
Sorry, I have. What is NFR? Like,
not for resale.
Not for resale. Yeah. I know we get you, Nick. I was like,
in my world, it means non-functional requirement. So
no. It's like MVP on a sports team. Yay, MVP on a coding team.
We can. Yeah, so our customers can resell, like our MSPs can resell.
Well, no, NFR is, so in your world, internal use rights. Basically, stuff you'd use for yourself, but you don't resell to others. Usually you get at a discount or you get free for yourselves. MSPs like to dog food. So do you offer,
white labeling?
No, do you offer a free or reduced cost for the MSP to use those systems themselves?
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
The MSPs don't pay. They just pay for the when they light up a customer. And the good thing about ShadowHQ is you can push like your different plans because it's a platform to drive revenue. So you can push your different response plans into your different organizations. So you resell the same plan multiple times. They're engaging with you for billable times, and you're running tabletop exercises for them as a facilitated tabletop exercise. So they don't pay, but when they activate a client, they do.
Gotcha. Okay, that makes sense. All right, so we're going to do 30-second pitches. You guys had your 10 minutes to talk about your history and the company and the market opportunities and blah, 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 blah. But we all know pitch is about the 30-second pitch, right? It's easy to wax poetic about the thing you love and have founded and you know everything about because you've been thinking about it 24/7. It's so much harder to distill that into a 30-second pitch. And that's what you're going to do. Danny's going to bring up the timer. We're going to start with Patrick. Patrick, you're going to have 30 seconds. When the timer starts, you start talking. When the timer stops, you stop talking. And your audience is MSPs. You're on stage talking to MSPs. 30-second pitch when the timer starts, sir.
Oh, you're making me watch the timer.
Yeah.
All right, guys. 30-second pitch, CheckRed. If you're an MSP or an MSSP and you're looking to grow your revenue streams in areas that you've traditionally been blocked, cloud security posture management, CNAP, CIEM, the same thing on the SSPM. We're literally the only vendor in the world that brings IaaS, PaaS, and SaaS together into a single multi-tenant solution that is built for service providers. It doesn't cost you a penny to get on our platform. We only charge you monthly in arrears for users on your platform the previous month. And we give you NFR licenses so that you can have plenty of free ones.
All right, you're out of time, so so not bad. It's hard, and I found that the longer you've been at it, the harder it is sometimes. So that's why these events like PitchIT and all the coaching is very, very important. Nick, same deal. 30 seconds.
Okay.
When the timer starts, you start, sir.
Okay, so ShadowHQ is a cyber incident preparedness and response platform for when your client systems and accounts are compromised due to a cyber attack. ShadowHQ has all the tools, people, communication, process documents, report templates, and other digital artifacts your clients need to recover quickly from a single secure out-of-band workplace. It also allows the MSP to acts as a platform to drive revenue, advisory services, incident planning, and incident tabletop exercises and response.
Very good.
Good job, Nick.
All right, so a little bit of work, I would say, for both of you. On Patrick's side, maybe dialing it back a little bit. On Nick's side, maybe a little bit of polish. I do appreciate that you had it written out ahead of time, so that's very good. But yeah, how do you guys feel? What have you guys learned in the last? Because you're what, week 4 or 5, I believe, on PitchIT. Nick, I'll start with you. What do you? What's your biggest takeaway so far? What are you eager to learn from PitchIT?
So it's getting out there. The story matters. So making sure that you're reaching out into the different communities, and the MSSPs and MSPs are a force multiplier. So how to build or position things more adequate for them is some of my biggest takeaways. From the PitchIT side, I mean, I don't know. I think there's some medication I can take to go down top of the stage and do it. I don't know. But I'm not rapping and I'm not dressing up. So
I don't know. We'll see what happens at Connect. I mean, for that $70,000 paycheck. I don't know. Maybe it's worth it to drop a few bars. What about you, Patrick? What's biggest takeaways, biggest learnings, what you're looking forward to at PitchIT?
I think the biggest takeaways are what we don't know, right? Through all the different companies we've been associated with, they've all had kind of different sales motions. And some have been lightly touching MSPs and service providers or MSSPs. Some have been pure channel, resell. And this for us has been a really good learning experience about what we don't know, and how to engage, how to speak with, how to pitch to, and clearly, but how to do it in a way that is complementary to what they need. It's understanding their use cases so that you can help them solve.
Very nice. All right, gentlemen. Thank you so much. Unfortunately, Sean wasn't able to join us. He had a flight. He was doing his darndest to actually make work around this, so we apologize. It was a last-minute thing. But thank you for joining us. We'll put the contact information for both Czech Red and ShadowHQ in the links below, as well as LinkedIn for both of our friends here, and invitations over to the MMN Discord. Patrick, first, what are you doing next? What's next on your schedule?
Today, more customer meetings.
There you go. Nick, what about you, man? You're resuscitating a BlackBerry or what?
Don't do that. No, I gotta figure how to get my customer meetings done and build my daughter's bike for her birthday in time.
Nice.
So I'll figure it out. Always do.
You're an engineer. You got this, man.
Yeah,
I got faith in you. From one engineer to another, I got faith in you.
Yeah,
happy birthday to your daughter from all the internet strangers.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, man. And ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining PitchIT. The MMN presents the IT Nations PitchIT. And we look forward to seeing more of these gentlemen. You'll see them on the Marvin B podcast, on Joey Pins. It's so hard to call Joe. Joey Pins, his Adam Belensky, and all the others doing the media circuit. Go check these gentlemen out, because each of us are asking a little different questions and learning a little more about them. And then you guys can figure out if you can use these companies in your MSP to make you better. So thank you so much. Until next time, take care of yourselves and each other.
This has been a broadcast of the MSP Media Network.